Christine Wonsley is a nurse. She spends her days caring for other people. She spends her shifts helping patients, monitoring vital signs, responding to emergencies, doing the work that nurses do, which is the work of showing up for strangers when they are at their worst. And now, while she is doing that job, strangers who never met her son are trying to destroy her career. That is not an exaggeration. That is what is happening. Christine Wonsley lost her 18-year-old son, Nolan Wells, on July 4th, 2026. He went to Horn Island with friends. He did not come home. His body was found in the water on July 6th. And in the week since his death, while Christine has been trying to grieve, trying to understand, trying to find out what happened to her child, strangers on the internet have been targeting her at her workplace. They are posting fake negative reviews about her. They are sending threatening messages. They are mailing harassing letters to her. People who have never met Christine Wonsley, who have never met Nolan Wells, who have no connection to this family other than what they have seen on the internet, have decided that the appropriate response to a mother's grief is to try to take away her livelihood. Ben Crump, the family's attorney, did not mince words about this. He called the attackers sick, evil people. He said they are attacking this mother and this father for simply saying, "We want to know what happened to our child." Read that sentence again. A mother and father said, "We want to know what happened to our child." And for saying that, for asking that question, for demanding an answer that any parent would demand, they are being attacked. They are being called racist. They are being called bad parents. They are being targeted at work. They are being sent threats in the mail. Elmore Wonsley, Nolan's father, said something that should stop every single person watching this in their tracks. He said, "We cannot grieve the way we need to because we are being disrespected. We are being called all kinds of racist, bad parents. We just want the truth. We just want the truth." A man who lost his son cannot grieve because strangers on the internet are calling him a bad parent. A man who buried his child is being attacked for asking why his child is dead. Think about the psychology of what is happening here. A family loses a child. They do what any family would do. They ask questions. They demand answers. They hire an attorney. They hire an expert. They speak publicly. They accept help from people who can amplify their voice. They fight for their son. And the internet, the same internet that claims to care about justice for Nolan Wells, turns around and attacks the family for fighting. The same people who say justice for Nolan are the ones calling his parents racist. The same people who say they want answers are the ones trying to get his mother fired from her job. The internet's verdict in this case has not just targeted potential suspects. It has targeted the victims. It has targeted the family that is supposed to be at the center of this story. The people who lost everything are being punished by strangers for the crime of demanding to know what happened to the thing they lost. And it is not just the Wonsleys. Everyone connected to this case is being hit. Judge Ashley Cole, the mother of Warren Hudson, one of Nolan's friends, received threats directed at her young children. She had to deactivate her social media accounts. Warren Hudson received thousands of death threats and could not attend Nolan's memorial service. Bart Edmiston Jr., another friend, was doxxed with his home address, property records, and family workplace information posted online. The case has become a weapon that hits everyone it touches, and the people it hits hardest are the ones who had nothing to do with whatever happened on that island. The threats got so bad that they crossed into criminal territory. 2 people have been arrested on federal charges in connection with threats tied to this case. Joseph DeMarce, a registered sex offender from Sacramento, was indicted by a Mississippi federal grand jury for sending graphic threats to Judge Cole. He sent messages about blood and packages that would blow her away. He sent images of her children. He is a registered sex offender who saw a viral case and inserted himself into it. And Francine Edwards, a woman from Ohio, was arrested for making bomb threats against officials connected to the investigation. 2 federal arrests, 2 people who took the internet's rage and turned it into federal crimes. The internet's rage has consequences, real consequences, federal charges, prison time. But those consequences come after the damage is done. The threats are sent before the arrest. The fake reviews are posted before anyone can stop them. The doxing happens before the cease and desist letter arrives. The legal system responds after the harm. The internet acts in real time. And the people in the crosshairs are left to deal with the damage while the system catches up. Christine Wonsley is a nurse. She goes to work. She cares for patients. She does her job. And while she is doing her job, her phone is buzzing with threatening messages. Her workplace is receiving fake reviews from strangers. Her mailbox is filling with harassing letters. She is a woman who dedicated her life to helping people, and the people she is receiving help from are being drowned out by people who want to hurt her. Imagine going to work the day after your son's funeral. Imagine clocking in, putting on your uniform, walking the halls of a hospital or a clinic, and knowing that somewhere on the internet, strangers are writing fake reviews about your performance. Strangers are telling your employer that you are a bad person. Strangers are trying to get you fired, not because of anything you did wrong, not because of any failure in your job, because you asked what happened to your son. That is what Christine Wonsley is living through right now. That is her daily reality. She lost her child. She went back to work, and the internet followed her there. The question that sits at the center of all of this is not just who failed Nolan Wells. That question is important. That question is the reason this case exists. But there is another question that is just as important, and it is a question about us, about the society that watches these cases unfold, about the people who comment and post and accuse and threaten. Who is failing Nolan Wells' family right now? Who is failing the mother who cannot grieve? Who is failing the father who is being called a bad parent for asking why his son is dead? The answer is us. The answer is the internet. The answer is the culture of viral accusation, of instant judgment, of mob justice without evidence. The answer is the people who see a family in pain and decide that the appropriate response is to add more pain. The answer is the people who see a mother asking questions and decide that the appropriate response is to try to take away her job. Ben Crump said these people are sick, evil. He is right. But the deeper truth is that this sickness is not limited to a few bad actors. It is systemic. It is the product of a culture that rewards accusation, that amplifies outrage, that treats every tragedy as content and every person in the tragedy as a character in a story rather than a human being in pain. Christine Wonsley is not a character. She is a mother, she is a nurse, she is a woman who lost her son and is now being attacked for asking why. Elmore Wonsley is not a character. He is a father, he is a man who buried his child and cannot grieve because strangers are calling him names. These are real people. Their pain is real, and the internet's response to their pain is to make it worse. 2 people are in federal custody for threats connected to this case. More may follow. The legal system is responding slowly to the criminal behavior that the internet's rage has generated. But the non-criminal harassment, the fake reviews, the social media attacks, the doxing, the reputation destruction that continues every day, every hour. While the family waits for answers about their son, they are also fighting a war against strangers who want to destroy them. A mother buried her son. She went back to work as a nurse. She cares for other people's families while strangers try to destroy hers. She asks what happened to her child, and the internet calls her a racist. She demands answers, and the internet calls her a bad parent. She grieves, and the internet sends her hate mail. The question is not just who failed Nolan Wells. It is who is failing his family right now. And the answer is staring at all of us through our screens. Let me tell you what harassment like this actually does to a person, because most people who send these messages do not understand what they are doing. They think they are one voice among many. They think their single fake review, their single threatening message, their single harassing letter is a drop in an ocean. But it is not a drop. It is a specific targeted act against a specific real human being who has to open that letter, read that review, hear that message. For a nurse like Christine Wonsley, fake negative reviews can have serious professional consequences. Healthcare employers monitor online reputation. Patient satisfaction scores affect careers. A pattern of negative reviews, even if they are obviously fake, can trigger investigations, discipline, and in some cases, termination. The people posting these fake reviews may think they are just expressing anger. What they are actually doing is trying to interfere with the livelihood of a woman who has already lost her child. They are trying to add unemployment to grief. The threatening messages have their own toll. Every time Christine's phone buzzes, she has to wonder if it is another one. Every time she opens her inbox, she has to steel herself. That is a form of psychological warfare that does not stop. It follows her from the hospital to her home. It sits in her pocket during her shifts. It waits for her when she wakes up in the morning. It is a constant low-grade terror layered on top of the shattering grief of losing a child. The harassing mail is perhaps the most invasive of all, because it means these strangers do not just have her name and her workplace. They have her physical address. They have crossed a boundary from the digital to the physical. A letter arriving at your home is a message that says, "I know where you live." Ben Crump has been the family's shield against much of this. His public statements, his willingness to name the harassers as sick and evil people, all of that is designed to create a public record that says this is what is happening to this family, and it is wrong. But even Crump's stature and skill cannot stop the daily grinding attacks. He can respond to them, he can document them, but he cannot prevent the next one from arriving in Christine Wonsley's mailbox tomorrow. Elmore Wonsley's words carry a particular weight. When he says we cannot grieve the way we need to, he is describing a specific kind of harm that our culture has not fully reckoned with. Grief requires time and space and permission to feel what you feel. When strangers invade those stages, disrupt those processes, and deny that time and space and permission, they are not just being cruel. They are actively interfering with the psychological work that a family has to do in order to survive a loss. They are extending the damage of the loss itself. Being called racist, being called a bad parent, being publicly attacked for the crime of asking what happened to your child, that is a form of secondary trauma. The primary trauma is the loss. The secondary trauma is the way society responds to the loss. And in the Nolan Wells case, the secondary trauma has at times been almost as devastating as the primary one. Because the primary trauma is over. Nolan is gone. That cannot get worse. But the secondary trauma keeps arriving, day after day, letter after letter, message after message. It has no natural end. It only ends when the internet moves on to the next case. The federal arrests of Joseph Dumars and Francine Edwards are a step in the direction of accountability. They send a signal that the worst behavior will be prosecuted, but they are also just two people out of what has clearly been a much larger group of harassers. For every person who crosses the line into criminal territory, there are dozens who stay just on the legal side while still doing enormous harm. And those people so far face no consequences at all. That is what has to change if cases like this are ever going to be handled with the humanity they deserve. It is not just about arresting the worst offenders. It is about creating a culture where the routine harassment is understood as unacceptable and carries social consequences even when it does not carry legal ones. Right now, that culture does not exist. Christine Wonsley did not sign up for this. She is a nurse who lost her child, and she is being punished by strangers for demanding to know why. The Wonsleys are, by every reasonable measure, victims, not just of whatever happened on Horn Island, but of what is happening on the internet every day, right now. The next time you see a viral case, remember Christine Wonsley. Remember what it means to be a mother who lost her child and had strangers try to get her fired. Because the way we treat families like the Wonsleys is a reflection of what we are becoming as a culture. The question is not just who failed Nolan Wells, it is who is failing his family right now, and whether any of us will do anything different when the next case comes. Because there will be a next case, and every family caught in one deserves better than what Christine Wonsley is getting today.